Hello, welcome to 16 Valver, your digital driveway to interesting but ordinary cars from back in the day. Why am I standing next to an old Ford Focus, I hear? Two of you ask. Well, I run a Twitter account called Chodspot that celebrates mundane, ordinary, average, unappreciated cars from the 80s, 90s and noughties. That allows me to indulge in one of my passions, other than Car of the Year and Lancia's Eaters, which is finding the earliest Ford Focus on the road today. People from all across the UK have been hashtag keeping their eyes peeled for an S-Reg, and as a reward they get a little sticker just to say thank you for it. Why an early Ford Focus? This is a game changer. When this car was released, this set a new benchmark in what a family hatchback should and could be. Incredible futuristic new edge design that just looked like nothing else on the road. An all new interior design that threw away tradition, and of course the much celebrated multi-link control blade rear suspension that made the Focus such a fabulous handler. The Focus is special. Press and public lap these up, and rightly so, but 23 years have passed since this was released, and let's face it, with mass-produced cars, the early launch cars have all but disappeared. So what have I bought? Well, potentially, and I say potentially because this video could go out and the following day someone say, "Oh Steve, I've got a 1st of August 1998 car, haha." Yes, I get it. There's the distinct possibility that someone has got an older one than this, but potentially I've bought the earliest Ford Focus on UK roads, registered the 3rd of September 1998. So let me take you around this car and show you what it's going to take to bring this landmark of automotive history back up to scratch. So behold the magnificence that is a 1998 launch Ford Focus. One absolute stunner. Aqua Frost, probably one of the most recognisable Focus colours from launch. One that you see the most, I would have thought. And I'm not bored of it. I know there were so many made, but I'm just not bored of it. I think it's lovely. Body-wise, and this is always the main factor when it comes to Ford Focuses, body-wise, this thing is in great nick. There's hardly any corrosion. There's nothing certainly that comes up on the MOTs. Most of the panels are really straight. Things that I'm going to have to sort out, and there's a bit of a list, is someone's tried to touch that lovely little scratch up. It doesn't actually look that bad, that scratch, but the touch up just looks terrible. There's another one down here, and there's the odd little dent and things. Whether I'm bothered about actually doing that in its entirety, I don't know. The front bumper's taken a little bit of a pounding over the years with scrapes and parking dents. Gonna need a new fog light and reg plates as well. I'm definitely going to go for those services that replicate the old dealer plates. Gates. It's a very old established Ford dealer in Essex where this was actually registered. This has got a Chelmsford registration. Oh, I love those E-Tech wheels, but they are pretty. They're pretty scratched up, aren't they? But you know, refurbs really don't cost a lot. I might even do it myself, to be honest. This one's not so bad. It's wearing Auto Grip. Grip 880. It's a bit misleading, I think, the word grip, because driving it around, especially on these wintry roads at the moment, grip it does not. I bought it with 77,000 on the clock, and it was over in Bedford. Kindly, someone from Twitter, I'll stick the name down there, Lindsay, did a great job going and looking for me, because I don't live anywhere near Bedford, so she was instrumental in me being able to pick this up. So thank you very much, Lindsay. So as I said, this one's got 78,000 on the clock, and it's very honest under here. There's not a lot going on. Thankfully, it's a little bit of surface rust, but there's nothing that can't be cleaned up. This is the one thing about this car. The MOTs show there's hardly like any corrosion, and as we all know, when it comes to Ford Focuses, these are rusters. So this is a great thing. It's not that bad. All that kind of stuff can be cleaned up. Cam belt, haven't got a clue if it's ever been done, so that's got to be done. The auxiliary belt, there's definitely a whine to it. Well, not whine, sorry, like a squeak on startup. So that's going to have to be looked at. And the main thing I think I'm going to concentrate, because there's obviously little things like this, like clips have disappeared. There's some down there for the screws. And just through the age of the vehicle, it's deteriorating. The plastics are so brittle, these things are just breaking apart, and it's missing a few little screw things. So I'm going to have to try and source some, not second hand, but you know, newer looking ones. Give this an absolute tidy up, because it is a complete state under here. But other than that, it's a very straight engine bay. There's really nothing to be worried about under the bonnet. Behold the magnificence of I didn't say what it was, it's a 1.6 Z-Tech. It's got that fabulous interior that on the whole isn't that bad. It needs a ruddy good clean. Missing the badge off of the steering wheel, it's kind of odd. And aftermarket radios that just do not sit properly. So I'm going to be getting myself I think they were 4000, the 4000 model was standard in the Z-Tech. I think it was the LX and the gears that got the 5000. But yeah, let's take it out on the road, and very briefly I'll just show you how it's driving, and there's a few little foibles with it, and then tell you my plans. Oh, wow, that was freezing out there. Well, here we are, driving it. My first impressions are that this car was looked after for half of its life. Now I say that with the knowledge that the service history that I got, and it did come with some service history, showed that the first proper owner of this car, because I'm trying to find out exactly who the first owner was. I think the first owner, it was registered actually to Gates of Ford over in Essex, the dealer, and I think they were the first owner for what would it have been, 10 months of its life. It had only done 6,000 miles before it was sold second hand as an approved Ford car from Gates again, and it was sold to a gentleman that lived in Essex, and He kept the car for at least 10 years and diligently took it back to gates of Ford every single year to have it serviced. So up until 2009, I think it was, maybe 2010, it was in the ownership of that one person. So after the first true owner of this vehicle, I think there was 2 more owners after that, and unfortunately I think that's where the decline has happened with this car. It really is fundamentally a good car. You can tell. It's only got, now anyway, it's only got 78,000 miles on the clock. Barely run in, really. But you can tell where people have started not to service it and give it the care and attention that first owner did. And that's what I want to bring back to this car. I want to really get it back to its former glory. It's such a great starting point. I'm so glad I found a car like this, that yes, it does need a fair amount of work, but it's nothing major, nothing insurmountable. Mostly serviceable things. The cam belt needs to be done, auxiliary belt. I've got to look at the air conditioning, see why that isn't cold, whether it's a regas, whether it's a compressor, I don't know, but we'll look at that. Normal full service. I'm going to change the brakes because they are, I think they're past their sell-by date. When you're slowing down from quite high speeds, like motorway speeds, there's a bit of a noise coming from them. So probably just low pads. Oh yeah, and the other thing as well is it's definitely got a misfire. From low res, I don't know whether you'll be able to hear it or not, but keeping the revs up as well, that doesn't help. There you go. Stutter. Yeah, it's got a bit of a hesitation now. I'm presuming that is the usual suspects: ignition leads, spark plugs, and again, it's not difficult to do, so I'm really not worried. There is one thing though that, well, it's not a worry, but it's quite a foible of the car. I'm going to see whether I can reproduce it now, because funny enough, there's a roundabout here, because it's only on right-hand turns that this occurs. So coming up to it, if you go quickly round, it's not going to do it now, is it? Come on, there we go. Right, I'm putting my foot all the way to the floor and it's barely keeping the revs up. In fact, it's slowing down, there's nothing. But as soon as you put the foot on the clutch, it magically comes back to life. Oh, I've forgotten how good a full focus is to drive. I used to drive these things all the time with a very well-known car rental company. No, not that one, the other one. And these things were, you would always want to take a Ford Focus out. These are hilarious. They're so good. Doesn't matter what engine's in them, the 1.6 all the way up to the 2 litre. They're all really, really entertaining cars to drive. The handling is phenomenal for what is just a regular family hatchback. This really does exceed what its original programming was all about, because this thing is sensational around the bends. Well, maybe this one isn't sensational around the bends, because there's another problem which I sort of talked about when I was walking around the car. That's the tyres on this thing. Oh my giddy aunt. Kazakhstan ditch finders, no offence to Kazakhstan, but wow, these tyres are terrible. Lots of grip on it, They're very, very legal, but I don't think they're made out of rubber. It's a compound that looks like rubber, but it doesn't act like rubber. So, trying to exploit the wonders of this Focus chassis is nigh impossible without it slip sliding around. It doesn't matter if it's dry or whether it's wet, it just goes where it wants to, and that's not what this car is all about. This car is about point and squirt. It's about it's shaming bigger, more powerful cars, because this thing is electric around the bends. But I've got to admit, I'm petrified going around these country lanes at the moment, just thinking it's gonna slide out from me at any point. There's a lot to do, really. I've yabbered on quite a lot here. There's lots to do. So I think what I'll try and do is maybe do particular segments. One will be all the engine work and mechanical things that I do. There'll be the body work, if I get shoved off the road by a van. There'll be the bodywork episode where I try and tackle whether I do it myself or whether I employ someone who knows what they're doing to do the paintwork and things like that. But, there's the wheels as well, and there's interior clean up. It's little things like the gear. I forgot about that. The gear knob. It's a Z-Tech, so that should have the pretend aluminium gear knob, but it hasn't. Sure, there's a reason why this is a sort of regular CL or LX gear knob, but that needs to be sorted out. So, and the parcel shelf has lost both of its strings, weirdly, so that's unusable. Little things like that. So I shall take you along for the journey of me bringing this back to its former glory, and who knows what we'll do for a little finale for it. Maybe we'll take it around the track or something. We'll exploit the beautiful handling of this car. So there's plenty to do with this car, and I hope that you'll come along for the journey with me. It's a nice little side project to do whilst I'm doing the Cote and me. Next video is in the pipeline as we speak. Yeah, let's see how far we can go with this car. Let's see how much we can bring back the glory to it, because to me this is a really, really important car in automotive history, and a great one, I think, to preserve. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.